Hey guys, it's Jen again. I figured out my iPad actually takes like way better video, so I'll try to use this from now on because it seems to look a lot better. This afternoon, I'm bringing you another science experiment. So most of my experiments so far have just really used things in the house, and this one is no different. So it's going to be called Dancing Rice Experiment. You can look it up on YouTube and see what happens before you watch the video or after, whatever you want to do, okay? So I have a glass jar with water. I put about, I think 2 cups of water or something like that. Don't fill it all the way to the top, maybe like halfway or just a little bit more, okay? I got my vinegar, I've got my baking soda, I've got my food coloring, and I've got my rice here. Just plain, actually I think they said to use instant rice, like minute rice, because the other one, real rice, won't work very well. So I have my jar with the water, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take, I think about 2 teaspoons full of baking soda. Let me reach across here. I'm just gonna guess, kind of drop that in, and I'm just gonna mix that up a little bit. Ooh, that's loud. Okay, so just gonna wait for a minute to let that settle and make sure it mixes in really well. Looks a little bit cloudy, so it's just getting mixed. That's awesome. Keep my spoon here just in case. Okay, so next you are going to take some of your rice, and hopefully you can see there. I'm just gonna sprinkle some in. I have 1/3 of a cup here. I'm probably not gonna put that all in. I'm just gonna see what happens here. So I'm gonna start putting it in at the top. You know what? I'm gonna put about half of that in. So let's just watch that for a second. I'm actually gonna give it a stir and see what happens here and see if that helps a little bit. Okay. So that's all mixed up. That's cool. So we have the water with the baking soda and some rice. You can see on the top here. I'm just gonna move this sheet in behind so you can hopefully see the water a lot better. So I'm going to take, let's take blue food coloring. So let's see, I'm just gonna put like 5 or 6 drops in here. Okay, some of it's starting to mix in, but I think what will happen is it will start to mix in as the rice bubbles around. So let me just double check the amount of vinegar I should put in there, just to make sure I don't have a volcano going on here. I'm gonna add about 1 tablespoon of vinegar. Okay, so this is a big jug here. So I have my tablespoon, and my vinegar is open, very big jug. So I'm just gonna guess. You can pour it into a tablespoon if you want. I'm just gonna go with it here and hope it doesn't overflow onto my floor. I hope you're ready. Okay guys, here it goes. I think that's about 1 tablespoon. Let's see what happens here. Looks like the blue is getting mixed in a little bit. Let's add a little bit more. Getting some bubbles, kind of like when you have a pop. I don't know if you can see that. Oh, let's move this back a little bit. So far, most of the rice is just sticking at the top. Some of it's starting to float up from the bottom. I can hear what sounds like a little bit of like snap, crackle, pop in there, a little bit like Rice Krispies. Let's see. We're gonna watch it for a few minutes because I think it takes a minute for it to kick in, hopefully. I'm gonna give it a little stir here with my spoon and see what happens. Let's see. So now it's swirling around because I put the spoon in. Let's see. There you can see it spinning around and the rice is floating up to the top. So it's a little bit like the lava lamp one where we put the oil and the water and the food coloring in together. Let's try adding a little more baking soda and see what happens, okay? Sometimes science experiments don't always work the way you want them to, so you have to kind of play around and see. Ready? I'm going to put this baking soda in here. Stir it up. Now let's see what happens. Looks a bit like our glitter jar from last week, right? You can hear some bubbles. It's starting to settle. You can see the rice swirling around. And I'm going to give it one more little, now that it's settled a little bit, a little smidge of vinegar. It's definitely not doing what I want it to do. Okay, we're gonna try this again.